Girlfriend of 10 years cheated on me with her boss who's also married. Title pretty much explains it. I've noticed for a while that she was acting distant towards me and that she was really close with her boss at work. She told me they were just close friends, so I believed her. One day she left her smartwatch out and I noticed he was messaging her a lot, so I checked the messages. There were messages where she said good morning love, and he also messaged her saying that he couldn't get her out of his head. This was 8 months ago and you would assume this was enough evidence, but she basically gaslit me. She told me she calls him love as a joke and that he was thinking about her because they had an argument at work. She told me I was crazy for thinking that and that I was horrible for not trusting her, so I ended up believing her. For the past 8 months I've been trying to make it up to her because I felt so bad about accusing her. Well, a few weeks ago she left her phone out and I had this weird feeling in my stomach, so I checked her phone again. The first time I did so since the 8 months when I checked before. This time I saw she messaged him and told him she loved him. He told her he was jealous of me because he wanted her all to himself, and she told him that he did have her all to himself. She also messaged her best friend and told her about the time they had and how great it was. She went into detail about how many times he made her finish and that it was great to have time that she enjoyed again. Ouch. And her friend was telling how happy she was for her. Her boss is also married and has a wife. I messaged his family and told them everything and none of them believed me. My ex and her boss both came up with a story that I was jealous of their friendship and didn't know what I was talking about, and they believed them. The worst part is not knowing how long it was going on for. Apparently her sister told me she had suspicious about them almost 2 years ago but didn't have proof and thought she was overreacting. They had a work trip in Texas 2 years ago and there's pictures of her with his arm around her, and she also came home with a necklace she said she bought. I think he bought it for her, but yeah. I'm 31 and she's 33 and her boss is 60, so it really messed with my self-esteem. I don't know how much of our 10-year relationship was true. She never told me the truth about anything. The only things I know are what I found out myself, and she refuses to tell me anything more. We are split up now and I know she's going out on his boat with him after work all the time. I thought about hiring a private investigator so I could expose the both of them, but at this point I can't be bothered. I want nothing to do with either of them. I've never felt more broken and betrayed in my entire life. The fact that someone who I was so happy with is now living her best life with someone else crushes me. It's like I never even knew her at all. Story 2. I need someone to cheer me up. In essence, I am 25, have been feeling broken for a few days now. I need someone to lift me up because I'm going through a lot right now. Due to work, my mother and brother must relocate to another nation for 8 years. Since 2006, my father and I haven't spoken. I don't have many friends, and my fiancée F24 and I have numerous issues that we are unable to resolve on our own. Last night we had conversation about my feelings and she knows that I'm broken AF. She got the new job in IT firm and she works there for about 2 months now. She really liked it and people there are good to her, and she finally found something where she will enjoy. At the beginning of her new job, I asked her everything about the work and people. She told me about every single person there's something normal. But then there's this guy she introduced me to as if he was something she'd wanted all her life. He's smart, he's nice, he's good with her. I didn't have a problem with it until she compared our bodies and said, he's amazingly muscular, he doesn't look as big as you, and she slapped me stomach. I thought it was disrespectful. Whenever she can, she only talks about him. She went out with him to some sort of office party. She's not some kind of party freak, but she stayed at the party with him until 4 in the morning. She never stays with me that long. Moreover, he took her home. I thought she would call me. I was waiting for her. After all this I felt very insecure because we had never had other random people in our lives, especially not after 1 month of knowing each other, and suddenly she was enjoying her life like that. We talked about my feelings. I cried a lot last night. I told him I was jealous because it's new for me and I don't understand why we broke up as soon as they got the job. All I wanted was for her to make me beautiful and safe, but she said I can't. I even asked her if she can at least slow down with this guy at first so I can sort everything out. She's become so cold, so disinterested. Even when I cry, she doesn't do much. A tear runs down her face and that's it. She doesn't try to cheer me up, she annoys me more and more. This morning she saw that I was broken again and she saw that I was crying, and I thought it would be nice if I had a hug before I went to work. She just patted my shoulder and gave me a kiss and that was it. Clearly I don't want to break up. I just want to fix everything up. But I feel like I can't do anything. It hurts me when I think that I will stay alone. It's just too much for me. Too much of everything, and I think that I'm not strong enough to go through all of this. Story 3. My wife 31F is no longer in love with me 34M. Sorry if this is a huge, confusing mess, I really don't know where to start. But I'll make an effort to remain as coherent as I can. My wife 31F, who came to this country on a study visa a few years ago, is now a permanent resident, thanks to our marriage. Early in December 21st, this was verified. Unexpectedly, in September of 21 her father, who was still abroad, died. She was unable to go home to be with the family because of the lockdowns that were in effect at the time. Along with her older brother 38M and sister 34F, she was able to help with the funeral planning from here, but it's obviously not the same, especially given the 8-hour time difference between the two locations. I urged her to travel there as soon as the borders opened because I had already lost both of my parents. Thank goodness, her employer was understanding and allowed her to work remotely with modified hours. Additionally, they gave her the option to work for 3 months there in light of the circumstances. We had a long discussion about this, and I urged her to take as much time as she needed, while making it clear that she shouldn't work non-stop. She took a flight in the middle of December and came home at the end of March. As a result, we were forced to miss my birthday, our wedding anniversary, Christmas, and New Year's. All of this was initially discussed, and I was comfortable enough in our connection to encourage it again. I also encouraged it because I knew how important it was to spend time with the family you still had. It was difficult for me to be apart from my family. Although we have a dog and no children, I did experience loneliness, likely as a result of never having lived alone before. Nevertheless, it took a lot of work from both of us to be as present as we could be. Messages, video calls, and audio recordings all helped with this. I looked forward to our brief crossover so that we could video chat because it felt like she was there. She had mentioned before leaving how her mother had asked her to stay so she could help life go on. My wife informed me that her mother was having trouble adjusting and was afraid to stay with her. Again, I made an effort to be sympathetic by letting her know that we could visit whenever we liked and, of course, host her mother here with us. Our place is more than big enough. Bring the date forward to March's end. I pick her up at the airport around 8 a.m. and, in essence, break the law by running in her direction and smothering her with hugs and kisses. I can't recall ever feeling so joyful and joyous. My other half had returned. The days until her return had been added up in my head. She wasn't able to stay awake for very long once we got home and she saw my flowers and balloons waiting for her. It was only natural that she would be jet-lagged. She passed out on the couch before retiring to the bedroom. She needed a few days to adjust to our time zone, which I had fully anticipated. She had a slightly depressed appearance one day. I assumed this would be about her mother and how far apart they are now physically. She requested that we talk. I joined her in the chair. I encircled her in my arms. She informed me that she had received a direct request to return home and be with her mother. As the youngest, my wife claimed that this was culturally her duty. They also couldn't just uproot and leave because everyone else had children. I made an effort to be delicate, once more encouraging her mother to come here while we went back and forth. She increased her sense of responsibility and care for her mother, who was now living alone. Nobody would be there to assist her if something happened, she thought. She declared that she had decided and would be going back abroad. What does that mean for us? I inquired. She claimed she wasn't certain. Although it was a lot for me to take in, I suggested that I follow her home. That I could sever my ties to this country and we could start a new life abroad. She said the next thing, which suggests that she didn't anticipate my saying that. Then she surprised me by telling me that she had grown tired of me after some arguments we had over time. That although she wasn't in love, she still loved me. That had a significant impact on me. I was in awe and had trouble speaking. I don't recall the details of the conversation, but I remember a lot of me saying, "We can work through this. Go to couples therapy, be better at communicating, and grow together to be stronger than before." She frequently said, "I don't know how to get back to where we were before, in this manner." I inquired as to whether she even desired to. I was met with silence. After some time, I questioned her if anyone else was there. She replied no. I questioned her to see if anything had occurred while she was away from home to give her this perspective. "Something nearly happened, it could have," she said. She, however, stopped. I questioned who. "It was her ex," she acknowledged. I wanted to keep fighting for her despite this. For us. To let her know how deeply I love her. And I understand what you're thinking. Maintaining ties with an ex is a major warning sign. Normally, I'd agree, but I was aware of her ex's continued presence. When we first started working together, it was something that came out. My wife's closest friend is related to her ex-boyfriend and is friendly with that group of people. He therefore attended social gatherings. In fact, during one of her and my calls, we even had a brief conversation. I should mention that I hadn't just started talking to him now. I knew where they stood with one another because I had previously been platonic with ex-partners and still am, and since their relationship had ended in the past, I wasn't worried. I never thought of myself as an envious man because I had faith in her and our relationship. I initially assured her that I would keep fighting for our rights and serve as the husband who made the promises to her. Additionally, I take care of all the little details like setting out a coffee on her desk before she starts working. I always kiss her goodbye when I leave the room. She has always cherished it. I know it's not much, but I do these things because I'm so glad she's in my life. It didn't bother her at all. But as the days went by, I became aware that she wasn't a dot. Whenever I kissed her, she would get excited. It's difficult to put into words, but those of you who have had the misfortune of kissing someone who wasn't into it can understand what I mean. It hurts a lot, as those of you who understand what I mean know. Especially if you want to be kissing that person. I then asked her if I was being too assertive. She responded that she needed some time and space when I directly asked her if she wanted me to stop kissing her despite everything else. I'm not wanting to force myself on her in any way, shape, or form, you know? She was silent, so I questioned why. She reportedly expressed concern over offending her. I tried to delicately say that breaking my heart kind of pales in comparison to offending my feelings. However, I asked her to inform me if anything else I was doing was excessive. She was asked if she preferred that we go to bed apart. To do that, she asked. I've been in our spare room ever since. To anyone still reading, thank you. I know this is a lot, but it's all started just coming out. The events of a few weeks ago all occurred. Things have changed since the initial reveal in early April. Odd. We seem to be in some strange kind of limbo. We coexist. I've never lived with anyone else before, but I imagine it feels like this. Even though we both work remotely, we still prepare meals for two people and watch television after work. But in the evening, she will go upstairs to make a call and check in with her family. This is where my suspicions start, and this post takes a slightly different tack because of it. She would frequently make late-night phone calls home, in our time. When this would happen, I would put on my headphones and play some video games. Alternately, read a book while listening to it to gradually learn the language. We had a routine, so it happened. She would hardly ever leave the area. I initially didn't give it much thought. I noticed those calls went a lot later into the night than they used to before she went overseas. After all, I'm trying to find our new normal. Again, not in and of itself a cause for alarm. The moment she wasn't using her phone was what initially piqued my spider sense. Before all of this, my wife would frequently misplace her phone while at home. For 2 days, it was once misplaced in our bed sheets. I am aware of what that implies about our search abilities. But now she always takes her phone with her when she leaves the room, even if it's just a PSS. Phone follows her as she tops off her drink. Phone goes into the shower with her. And no, she doesn't have music playing in there. It's important to note that I have never, ever felt the need to look through her phone before starting this. We each have the other's fingerprints stored on our own phones and know each other's passcodes. That's what people who love and trust each other do, right? She had her phone in her hand as she walked out of the room last week, and I saw her passcode. Compared to before, it was different. Spidey's sense was piqued once more by that. She once asked me to pause the show we were watching so she could PSS just 2 days ago. As I watched her leave, I saw that her phone had been left on the couch. What I did next is something of which I am really ashamed. However, I seized it, typed in her new passcode, and then went straight to her messages. Her ex is at the top of the list. My mood declined. I actually didn't think it could break any more, but it did. I'm less proud that I browsed through that thread and took a look. Despite the fact that a lot of it was in a variety of languages, it was talking about how my wife did what she had to do last time, which I take to mean breaking things off with him initially. There were messages from when she had been cooking, and phrases like "I can't wait to cook together" or "I can't wait to cook for you" were used, which were essentially things I had been saying to her while she was away. She left the bathroom relatively quickly. Number ones don't take long, so I didn't have a chance to look through the media they had exchanged. To allay any suspicion, I had returned her phone in the orientation and screen state in which I had discovered it. Again. Yes, I am aware that spying is inappropriate. This is where I am right now. I wish I could confront her. A direct question about her desire to reconcile with her ex is appropriate. Alternatively, if they've already reconciled. She will surely deny it, I'm sure of it. But even if she does, I still can't admit it without telling her that I invaded her privacy. Of course, like anyone who has been caught in that situation, I anticipate the conversation would divert from her infidelity to the fact that I looked through her phone. I've confided in a family member, who has given me the contact information for some legal counsel who can tell me where I stand and what options both good and bad I have. Since it only makes it more real, as ridiculous as it sounds, I haven't called them yet, though I believe I understand what must take place. I am only now certain of how to proceed. If we're done and there is no chance of reconciliation, I no longer want to live together. Do I admit what I know, or do I just take the high road and end it? Being separated from her while she is here hurts more than when she was away. Reddit is applauded. And I'm so sorry for this enormous post. Redditor's reaction. Story 4 after. Redditor 1, there are two partners of yours in this story, the woman you married, and the imaginary woman you married. Redditor 2, time to move on, bro. Just let her go. I know exactly what kisses you talking about too. They're cold. The emotionless expression or just lack of any emotion when you kiss them. And they hold back. Makes it awkward. It's best you just let it go because she was moved on herself. You're just watching it. It hurts being the only one scorn over a relationship while they are happy just to be away from you. But letting go and focusing on your own happiness is imperative. ATM. Redditor follow up. This op. You seem like a nice person, and for a long post it was well written and gave us a good glimpse into your pain. It totally sucks, but you will get through it. With that said, it's time to lawyer up and move on. As tough as it will be, go no contact and never reach out again. It may be the toughest thing you ever do, but it will save you and allow you to fully move on. A coward dies 1,000 deaths, but a soldier dies just once. Redditor 3, time to give her the divorce she wants. Gather all the evidence and go to a lawyer and tell her to move back home and leave your house. Redditor 4, time to lawyer up. What good could come of it? Ask yourself this when you are tempted to bring up the questions you have. It's over, darling. Time for damage control. Story 4, M24F23. She left a 3.5-year relationship for a co-worker she knew for 2 weeks. I had been with my girlfriend for 3.5 years. She accepted my marriage proposal when I first asked her in October of last year. We both worked, but I stayed home because I was laid off to support my family. We made the decision to finally relocate to a larger apartment together in a large city and begin expanding our lives. This year, we relocated in the middle of February, and at the end of February, she began speaking to a coworker. She and him spoke frequently, and she became emotionally and eventually physically attracted to him. She kept this information hidden from me. They sent a ton of text messages in a single week while she was on my phone plan. A week prior to my birthday, she cheated on me with him, and they have remained together ever since. She refused to give me the phone and deleted the texts after I asked for her phone to confirm my suspicions. She then dumped me, took off her wedding band, and stayed in a hotel until she returned home for Mother's Day. She continues to speak with him and claims that she needs to come to terms with her actions because she is unsure of their motivation. She claims she abandoned her ideal relationship without understanding why. While she took pleasure in a trip back home and talking to him, I spent the week after I learned about it sobbing and packing up. I genuinely believed she was the one and was preparing to legally wed her because my heart is set on her. My inner voice tells me to back off, improve myself, and wait for the next opportunity. Regardless of how severely she continues to hurt me, my heart still craves for her. What must I do? What if she comes back to me? How should I process all of this? Please assist. Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1, if she was truly ready for you to be the one for her, she wouldn't have cheated. It's as simple as that. Your head is correct here. Take some time to think about what would happen if you two got back together. Would you ever be able to trust her? Would you constantly worry about who she's talking to? Would you resent her for what she did already? That's not a great foundation on which to build a life. You know you deserve someone that respects you and respects the relationship you have with them. You deserve better than her. Back off. I would even go so far as to block her, and work on yourself for a while. You can do much better. Op answer, Your words mean a lot to me. A part of me even after all of this wishes to give her a chance, but I don't know if I could ever trust her or believe her again. Everyone I've spoken to says once a cheater always a cheater, and it's a tough situation. I know working on myself is part 1, but after that I don't know. Redditor 2, clearly you aren't the one to her. Move on. She cheated. That isn't a way to start a marriage. Redditor follow up, cool, so after she is through with the pump and dump she will be back with all the crying and apologies. Don't cave, just move the duck on. Redditor 3, figure things out means that she wants to be with the new guy but wants to keep you on the hook in case things don't work out with him. Go no contact with her and move on. Don't give her another chance if she comes crawling back. She's cheated and blown up your relationship. She doesn't deserve another chance. Op answer, you're right, and I don't deserve to be a second option. I ain't gonna be someone else's second choice after what she did. You can't have your cake and eat it too. I appreciate your words, thank you for your advice. I will absolutely keep them in mind if and when she comes back around. Redditor 4, go 100% no contact with her. Don't answer her calls, don't answer her texts, don't answer her emails or DMs or anything like that. If she wants to come back, whatever you do not take her back. She'll just do it to you again. Let her have all the time in the world to figure herself out, but let her do it with someone else. This is one of the deepest betrayals she could possibly do to you. Op answer, you're right, the amount of hurt and betrayal is insane. Through this whole process I've tried to be civil with her, but I can tell it's her getting mad that she isn't alone yet. It takes time to transfer bills, I tell her. I just gotta focus on myself and the future that lay ahead.